printer. And of course, it's taking extra time because she's printing on both sides.
Okay, stand by. It's Thursday, the last show of the work week here on the 24th of March, 2022, the Joe and Joe Weather Show. And Dr. Zachary Smith is waiting for spring. Well, you know what? He's not going to feel too good with the weather pattern that's shaping up for this weekend. The pain. The pain. The Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by, of course, our friends at, if I can move this, no, wrong one. Nope, still the wrong one. Now I'm moving the right one. Our friends over at Omni True Value Hardware, which they've got tons of mulch and topsoil and gravel and everything you need to make your yard look great, even mulch in different colors at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, serving the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number, and of course, Joe Rayo knows exactly what the website is.
It's omnitruevalue.com.
So let's wish one of our regulars, because he's here almost every night, our Johnny Quest is his boy. It's his birthday today too. So we wish him a very, very happy birthday. Billy the Kid is on tonight, worrying about the upcoming apocalypse. You know, he did ask me the question about the fact that by 2030 the whole Earth is going to melt. So you know what, Joe? We only have 8 years. We have less than 8 years of left of doing this show.
Okay.
So just letting you know. One of the things I learned a long time ago, folks, is when you bet on the apocalypse, the problem is that you can only be right once. And
yes.
and you know what? If you are right, there is no upside because you can't collect on that bet. Everybody's gone. So can we just
absolutely
move on from that nonsense and just, Jesus.
It's like Daffy Duck when he drank the gasoline and the nitroglycerin and uranium P-238, and then he stuck a match in his mouth and blew up, and Bugs Bunny said, they loved it, they want more, and he said, I know, but I can only do it once.
Exactly. The point of this show, folks, is to get away from all the noise and the nonsense that's out there. So you know what? If you're going to do that, if you're going to spend your entire day in the noise and the nonsense, and then you bring it here, Jesus, just let it go for a while. My God, I could not function that way. I really could not. No, I'm not doing that. Okay.
They used to, that's what they used to say about Johnny Carson. They used to say, I watched Johnny Carson to get away from all of the mayhem that happens in the world during the course of the day, that Johnny would just crack jokes and do funny skits and do Karnak and all that sort of stuff. But in our society today, Joe, you can't even get away from that now. That all three late night talk show hosts like to dwell upon what is happening in the world today, and if you're trying to get away from it, you can't get away from it from watching those three guys at night. It's a whole different world out there. But what else can I tell you?
Right. The other thing is, if the apocalypse is coming, can you imagine the apocalypse sales that'll be going up at various department stores? Oh my! Let's just run to that. You know what, Billy? Please, okay. I've been reading disturbing articles since I was in my single digits. If ever, not a single one of those has come true. Okay, we were supposed to run out of oil before the year 2000, so that didn't happen. We were supposed to burn to a crisp We were supposed to freeze, completely freeze over. What else? I could probably, if I thought about it, I could name maybe at least another dozen more of various apocalypses that were going to occur. You know what? The list is as long as the people who are out there that predict the end times and the rapture. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. For God's sake, if you're gonna be that hopeless, I just hope that you keep it to your own person. You don't spread it around in your circle, okay? Because nobody wants to be around somebody who's a gloomy Gus all the time. Johnny Quest hitting super
Correct.
chat on his birthday. Thank you. There are 52 volcanoes that are erupting on the Earth. Now there's some good news, Joe. We've got we've got volcanoes, 52 of them that are erupting. Oh my. Yes. Oh, that's right. Michael
And now,
Azar reminds us about the whole Y2K fiasco. Oh God. All right. Anyway, uh, the next thing that's going to happen is the fact that the weather pattern is going to turn colder in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, and we're going to see temperatures early next week. I was looking at Joe on the digital weather from the Weather Service. Their forecast highs for Monday. They've actually knocked them down even further. Now they're saying that
right.
now the maps are showing highs no higher than the low and middle 30s. I don't know. I think that might be pushing it just a little bit, but I could certainly see a day where we don't get out of the 30s.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's 39 or 31 or 32. The winds are going to be the key on Monday, and it's going to make it feel, if you're outside, like it's in the 20s. Crazy. It's well below the seasonal norms. Right now, I think the seasonal norm is, something like 53, 54. We're going to be a good 18 or even 20 degrees below normal for many areas on Monday. So,
And
yeah.
the nights are going to Monday morning and Tuesday morning are going to be two very cold early morning adventures. Probably lows in the teens inland and lower 20s coastal areas, maybe middle 20s in some of the warmer urban places. But you get these light shots of cold air. It does happen. And this is nothing really extraordinary, except for the fact that we went the whole winter without a blocking pattern, and now, of course, that we're at the end of March, early April, we're in a blocking pattern. This is the way the world works these days. Timothy
Tim
Veltman.
Veltman, yeah, well, yeah, you go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say,
You got to divide it.
Timothy Veltman hitting super chat says, "You want an even scarier fact? Every time a snowflake that melts." Every time a snowflake melts,
No,
a mosquito gets his wings.
gets its wings.
Oh, that's brilliant. By the way, I found that old shot came up on Memories today of doctors. I showed it at the beginning before the show started of Dr. Zachary Smith getting Mr. Spock is giving him that paralyzing pinch in his shoulder.
Right.
Did you see it when it came up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did. I did.
I thought you would have I thought you might have chuckled out of that, but I guess not.
Well, it's so far behind the live, so to speak. It's like a minute later. So it's when it came up, I said, it's nice that he's talking about Dr. Smith, but it wasn't until like a minute later that I saw the picture, and by then it was like old news. So
exactly. All right, so
the pain.
Yes.
Williams.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up the radar. How about we do that? Let's bring up the radar. And
yes.
I'm going to switch here first. Why is it not switching? Okay, hold on. Something's not right here. Oh, there. Wait, you disappeared. Now you've reappeared. Okay, that was.
I disappeared.
No, that was strange. I went to switch maps and. All right, let's try it again. Let's see what happens. Ah, there we go. Okay. So let me put the radar up. Now, I would have thought, Joe, the radar would have been a little bit more bulked up north and west of where it is. I'm starting to wonder, is there going to be any rain this evening into the first part of tonight? Because, you look at this radar, and most of this is going to wind up missing, from what I can tell.
Yeah, they being the model guidance, had suggested we might pick up 1, 2, 3 tenths of an inch, an additional 1 to 3 tenths of an inch of moisture, of rainfall this evening for the most part. In fact, heck, I even saw the people over the National Weather Service at Upton say maybe an isolated thunderstorm. But
Ah,
you're right. From the way this looks, unless something suddenly pops right before our eyes, it doesn't look like there's going to be very much of anything through much of the upcoming night,
yeah. I mean,
save for maybe some patchy fog.
there's some stuff blowing up south and west of Washington D.C. that if it holds together and you just kind of make a straight line trajectory, it probably moves into northern New Jersey and uh, southeastern New York and southern New England and Long Island. Again, assuming that that holds together, but it's I would have thought it would have been a little more bulked up than it is. Meanwhile, further to the south, we've got some showers along the North Carolina coast down into South Carolina. I'm not seeing anything from the standpoint of thunderstorms, even though the Storm Prediction Center has two very small areas of marginal risk, one in eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia to the southern Delmarva Peninsula, but at least so far, it doesn't really look like much is going to happen there. Then there's another area of marginal risk along the central Florida east coast, and there too, the radar doesn't look overly impressive. Uh, Other than that, it's pretty quiet. And I mentioned yesterday, I'll bring it up again today. You don't see this too often once you get into the springtime months. But we've got actually back-to-back days here where the Storm Prediction Center is not predicting any thunderstorms. In fact, um, there's the lack of activity is causing even the map to not want to load. But there it is. No thunderstorms forecast for the period from Friday into Saturday. And as we look for day 3, we've got no thunderstorms forecast for Saturday into Sunday. Right, SPC?
Right,
Right, SPC?
right.
No, the map is like not loading. Just, it's not loading. Okay. And I can't even go to the day 428. Page is unresponsive. Oh, okay, there we go. No thunderstorms forecast. It finally responded. So let's see what we could do with days 4 through 8. They've got no areas indicated. I'm just a little bit curious about uh, the middle part of next week because it does look, at least from what the models were showing, that we might have some kind of an outbreak starting again in about the same places that we've seen it. Saw it this week. So potential too low for days 4 and 5, and then 6, 7, 8 probability is too low. Okay, so that sort of makes sense. All right, so let's. By the way, Joe Rayo is monitoring the chat board because I cannot monitor the chat board and switch maps at the same time. So if you've got any questions or comments, leave them there. We'll try to respond to them. And those of you who are watching the show for the first time, welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. This is our last show of this work week, and we are planning to be back on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, unless the apocalypse comes, in which case we'll have to reschedule for another time. Anyway, there's your satellite loop tonight, and you can see there's a jet that runs from the eastern Gulf northeastward. But Joe, starting to make a little bit of eastward progress. The upper trough that's back over the Great Lakes is kind of pivoting around and giving it the push it needs to make it go away. So it's trying to go away.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's all
I
right.
had to say that.
That's okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, the big problem though is I don't. Tomorrow probably won't be too bad because there is a little dry slot that's in between that and the upper trough, so we might get away with a halfway decent Friday. But Saturday and Sunday are going to have. There's going to be some issues on Saturday with the upper trough coming through. So I threw in the chance that there could be some showers during the afternoon.
Same here.
And
Same here.
yep, and if you go into upstate New York or if you go into
Light
Western PA,
showers.
yes. And if you go into upstate New York or Western PA, you probably will see some snow showers there. And that trough's going to linger around on Sunday, so there might be it may be a better day from the standpoint of cloud of less cloud cover and maybe a little bit more sun, but it's also going to be colder, and the wind is going to start to become a factor during Sunday, and then, as you said, on Monday too. This time of year, by the way, even though the gradient may not look especially tight, you have a really strong March sun going to work on this cold air. You get a lot of mixing going on, and that in and of itself will create some interesting wind gusts during the afternoon hours on Sunday and especially on Monday.
Right. That weather front that's going to usher in the shot of really chilly air is probably going to be passing on through during the first part of Sunday. And then, as you said, Joe, the winds are going to start to increase, and it'll become quite blustery here for later Sunday, Sunday night, and right on into Monday as well. In fact, the flow on Monday is going to be coming straight out of Hudson Bay. And don't kid yourself. I mean, I know it's almost the end of March, but a lot of that area up in central and northern Canada is still very cold. And to get air advected or pushed down from that area into our area on Monday will make for, again, a mid-February type of day out there. I mean, it is truly going to feel more like the 15th of February instead of the 28th of March. It is going to be a very, by the standards of March, a rather chilly, if not downright cold day. Again, especially when you factor in the wind.
And by the way, I put up a map. This was the GFS this morning for Monday afternoon, the upper air, as Joe described, the cold air and the flow coming down from Hudson Bay. You can see that black arrow that I've got drawn down there. That's cold air coming down. And if you've been waiting all winter long to see a Greenland block, well, you didn't see it during the winter time, but you got it now. And this is this is what it looks like, where you have higher pressures in the North Atlantic, but particularly over Greenland and especially over Western Greenland, which is what we're seeing here, pushing into the Davis Strait. And that displaces the jet stream further south. And of course, you notice the flow. If you follow the flow, it comes from northwest Canada right down into the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. And the question for the longer term is how long is it going to take that to pull out? Because it is going to try to pull out, and we've got energy that you see on the west coast that has moved in, and that's probably going to take the better part of next week to move across the U.S. This is a time of year, Joe, where things slow down. So it's great if you're in a good spot. You could have nice weather for 3, 4, 5 days in a row. But if you're not in a good spot, you could be stuck in a colder pattern like we're going to probably be stuck in for at least a few days next week, or out to the west with what's coming in along the west coast. It's going to take a while for all that moisture to move along.
Yep. And Robert Russo, thank you for hitting Super Chat up on the chat board right now. And Joe, you're right, because it is kind of a paradox. We're coming off of wintertime, but still weather systems are moving quite rapidly. Progressive is the word we usually like to use here. But this is also the time, because of that clash between the retreating cold air and the push of warmer and more humid air, that you sometimes get these cutoff lows. And when they cut off, it's like being on the Long Island Expressway at rush hour and somebody has a flat tire. It unfortunately means a log jam, so to speak. And we're looking at just that type of scenario coming up during next week, kind of a meteorological log jam that's going to slow everything down. And yeah, it's lovely if you happen to be in the zone where you have sunshine and dry weather. But if you're in that area where you're going to see periods of, rain, drizzle, patchy areas of fog, that ain't so nice. But that, unfortunately, is the way it sometimes pans out. And this could last, this block, for more than just a few days. So don't know what to tell you. You just have to grin and bear it. It is, after all, early spring.
Yep. Uh, I've always said that the spring at least in the Northeast and for much of the Mid-Atlantic states too, it's not a nice time of year unless you're far enough inland, and otherwise it can be downright miserable. But as we look at the upper air here, folks, you'll see that the not only the block taking shape, but these short waves that are coming down from northern Canada. Here's one for Saturday that moves on through, and then there's another one that is behind it that just sort of gets stretched out and absorbed by the lead system. But it holds that upper low in place. We're in here on Monday, and see where that purple area is up between Greenland and northern Canada. That is the center of the blocking high. Now, the energy coming into the west, you see it there coming into Southern California, that cutoff low, eventually finds its way into West Texas on Wednesday. I'm thinking, Joe, that tomorrow, if not tomorrow, certainly on Saturday, that's a powerhouse upper low and a very cold pool of air aloft. I think it's going to create the possibility of some severe weather risks, maybe beginning as early as Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning in East Texas and eastern Oklahoma. And then Wednesday, you'll start to see that area slowly shift eastward. This kind of looks like what we just went through. I mean, you take a look here. I can roll it backwards. This is from Monday. You see that upper low in New Mexico that lifted up into Kansas and then just kind of coiled its way up toward the Great Lakes. So if you take a look at this one comes into Southern California, moves over into New Mexico, and then just sort of coils its way up into the middle and upper Mississippi Valley. So it's fairly similar. I don't see why we couldn't get a similar outcome in terms of severe weather outbreaks next week in the same areas across the South that we saw this week. It looks almost identical.
French call it déjà vu, and I'm embittered in the fact that there's no similar word in Italian. I think there should, but
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to use the Italian version of déjà vu, and it does look like déjà vu. It does look like we have been through this before. Thank you, Chuck Cardillo, who says, Joe, thank you, Joe and Joe, for all you do. Who needs the late night shows when we have you both to put a chuckle in our faces, and the best forecasters also. They still make that candy?
What?
Chuckles?
I don't know.
Remember that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember that.
I don't know if that was Chuckles. Maybe I'm getting it confused. It was kind of like one of those chewy candies with like little sugar embedded in it or on it or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, thanks, Chuck. Thanks for the chuckles, Chuck.
Yes. Thank you, Chuck. Page unresponsive. Boy, everybody's pages are unresponsive, or maybe it's something personal. Maybe they don't like me. I'm not sure. All right, let's try again.
William Huber says, Joe R., there's a lot of flat tires on the LIE on Third World Road, New York. Should be ashamed of themselves. Road looks like it's been bombed. And Billy the Kid says, risk for late season snows. Asking me, risk for late season snows, scientist Rayo? I don't know. I would think that with the chillier, airflow, the trend that we're seeing, that if we could just manage to keep it in just the right spot and manage to get ourselves a nice little disturbance to zip on through on the right course, yeah, I think we could still see one more round of possible significance. Now, I hope now this sounds weird because I'm not especially a fan of snow, but I actually want significant snow because the last storm threat that we had, Joe, I was so dumb, so stupid. I had almost no gas in my snowblower.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get everything in place. I usually pull the car out, put the snowblower behind the car, and I started up using the electrical current. So I had the plug in, and I looked at the amount of gas in it, and I said, "Oh, it's not all that much." I said, "Well, I'm not gonna come outside with the snow tomorrow morning and have to pause to fill it up. So I put gas in, and then the next day we had probably just a light coating of snow mixed with ice. Couldn't really use the snowblower. Never did use the snowblower. But now, before the season ends, I've got to figure out a way to just get rid of that gas. So if we don't get much by, let's say, the first week of April, I may just start the darn thing up and just let it run for
either
as
that,
long as it takes to empty.
well, either that or just put some stabilizer in it. I never.
Yeah, but I had problems before with this particular blower, even with a low amount of gas, and then I tried to start up the following season, and it wouldn't start because there was some gunk in it or whatever, and I had to use mechanic in a bottle or, all these complications in one's
I know,
life.
but you got a mechanic in the kitchen.
Oh. That's true too.
Is she still there? Did you hear me?
No, she's at the German club, as I said.
Okay.
She's
all right. As long as she's gone, she has ears everywhere, Joe.
yes.
All right. So here's.
She might even.
By the way, did you? I don't know if you saw this, but the thickness in New York on Monday morning is 510. 510. I don't. I think maybe we got down to a 510 thickness once or twice during that cold stretch we had in January into early February. But
Right.
to see it at the end of March or early April is just it's so wrong. It's just wrong. I'm sorry.
It stinks.
Yeah, it does. Meanwhile,
It stinks. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the one interesting thing, at least through the weekend, is that the weather through most of the country is going to be on the quiet side. Now, we do have some energy coming into California on Sunday, later Sunday night. And that's the next weather system that's going to move into the plains. And you see it there, reforming down near in North Texas, Northwest Texas, northeastern New Mexico. Some snow in eastern Colorado Tuesday into Wednesday. And then on up into the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. But you see how the isobars are just kind of pointed up in that direction. Even with the blocking pattern, it's going to try and go up well to the left. You could have a blocking pattern, but if everything's not where it's supposed to be, it's hard to get a low to push eastward and pass underneath us to our south. And then there's this sort of a warm front, Joe, that sets up on Tuesday from Wisconsin down to Virginia, North Carolina, with a little bit of snow, light snow, sleet, and rain there, but it just sort of stays there and dries up. But here's what I'm talking about here for next week. You can see here on Tuesday with the low in Kansas, you got, and then it drops down into New Mexico, Texas there, and into Oklahoma with the weather front swinging across Texas. I think this could be for a severe weather out, some severe weather maybe Tuesday night into Wednesday morning in central Texas, and then later Wednesday night in East Texas and in the lower Mississippi Valley. The GFS is very bullish here with what it's doing with respect to precip. And then you see it moving across to the central Gulf Wednesday night into Thursday and into the southeastern part of the U.S. and northern Florida on Thursday night into Friday of next week. So we may wind up seeing the northeast and mid-Atlantic states staying rain precipitation free, other than that stick of moisture that you see there, until this thing gets to the East Coast, and that's probably not going to be until sometime next Friday. And then after that goes by, we've got another cold front, and it looks like another shot of colder air around April 4th, April 5th, with a high building down. And there's your little low, Joe, your little disturbance moving east across Missouri to West Virginia, with a low off the Virginia coast, and just a little bit of blue there in northern Pennsylvania into northern New Jersey on April 6th.
April 6th will be the 40th anniversary of the late season blizzard that we had here in New York. 9.5 inches of snow in New York City proper. Other areas to the north and west got even more. And the amazing thing about that, it was not so much that it was a late season snowfall. What was amazing is that usually when you have a snow in April, it's gone within a matter of a day or two because the temperatures spring right back to the 50s and 60s and melt it. It didn't do so in 1982. In the days that followed, the temperatures were abnormally cold, only in the 30s with a gusty wind, and that snow didn't really go anywhere. It was around for several days, and the ground crew at Yankee Stadium really had their work cut out for them because they finally did get a baseball game played at Yankee Stadium 5 days later, but they got no help whatsoever from Mother Nature. They really had to do it all by their lonesome, Joe.
Yeah, and I missed that too. I had just moved to Corpus Christi, Texas, so I didn't get to see it. But I did see it coming, which was nice. I do have, by the way, Joe, because I spoke to the chairman today, and he reminded me that earlier this week he did send me a Briller Jeopardy. So I have that. We can do that tonight to finish off the week. And tonight, um, tonight's subject is Barrow, Alaska. So if Alfred Phillips is on tonight, he's our Barrow. Well, he's not. He's in. He's up there on the North Slope. I forgot where. I forgot the name of the town that he's in or nearby, but he's right near there. Okay, so he can verify some of this. So are you ready? Barrow, Alaska. You must answer these questions.
Okay.
If you answer these questions correctly within 8, so you got some room. You get to go up there and vacation for a whole week. Okay.
I would kind of pass on that. I'm not exactly too keen about going to. Now I've been to Alaska. And in fact, let me just say that I agree fully with Bob Ross. Some of you know who Bob Ross is, the painter who does the happy little trees and does his masterpieces in 30 minutes. And Bob Ross once said God was having a good day when he made Alaska. And I would have to agree. It really is very nice to see the beauty and the wildlife that is still up. They even said, Bob Ross said, if you have a chance, go to Alaska while it's still wild. And it is. Parts of it are indeed still wild. But Barrow is a little bit too far north for me to want to travel. But all right, we'll take a whack at Briller Jeopardy tonight with Barrow, Alaska.
All right, so question 1. What was the highest temperature ever in Barrow, Alaska? Wrong! I'm practicing. I'm practicing.
You know, it can get rather warm. I know in southern Alaska, I'm not sure if it was Fairbanks or Anchorage that actually saw temperatures get to 90 or whatever, or in the 90s. So for Barrow, how warm can Barrow get? Being all the way up, that's like latitude 74 or 75, something ridiculous. But I will say, in this era of global warming, you know, I'm tempted to say something like in the 80s, but what the hell? I'll say it. I'll say 81 degrees in Barrow, Alaska for the warmest temperature.
Well, too high, but close, though. 79. 79.
79.
What was the coldest
Wow.
temperature ever in Barrow, Alaska?
Oh, that's easy. Minus 102. No.
Yeah, no, that's pushing.
Well, we know that Old Forge in New York State, I think at one time, I remember it was back in the late 70s, got down to something ridiculous, like 53 below zero. So I'll say how about minus, I'm tempted to say something like minus 60 something or whatever, but I'm also thinking the fact that since Barrow is like on the north, is Barrow on the north? Yeah, on the north coast of Alaska, right? I'm wondering whether or not I wonder if the water has any effect of tempering the extreme cold. But I'll say minus 60.
Well, you're a little too high, but close. Minus 56. What is the greatest?
Minus 56.
Yes, what is the greatest daily snowfall?
In Barrow, Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might get too cold. It might actually be too cold to snow up there more often than not. I'm going to say something rather low. You mean the biggest one day snowfall or the
Yeah.
biggest snow amount in
Yeah.
one single day? I'll say something like I'll say 13 inches.
Too low, but close. 15 inches.
All right. Why am I missing it by 2 degrees here,
That's
1 inch
yeah,
there,
but
whatever like
you're
that?
still
No.
in the game for that 1 week. Carol Merrill is writing your tickets up right now. Now, the earliest measurable snow. The earliest measurable snow.
I'll say something like I'll say something stupid. Um, I'll say August 15th.
No, the snow season goes from July 1st to June 30th, folks, in case you didn't know. So the earliest measurable snow in Barrow, Alaska was on July 1st.
Wow.
Now, the latest measurable snow.
Oh, Joe, come on. So if it goes from July 1st to June 30th, I'll say June 30th.
And by saying June 30th, you would have been correct. June 30th. Um, I wonder if it just also be funny if that was the same system that gave the measurable snow on June 30th and on July
July
1st.
1st.
Okay.
July 1st.
Most snow in a calendar year. Most snow in a calendar year.
Blah 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 blah. How about I'll say something. I'll say like how about 20 inches?
You know, I would have thought that the number would have been on the low side. Okay. But I guess this must have been one of those years where uh, the Arctic Ocean might have frozen late or melted early or whatever. 105.3.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's amazing when you consider that you just said a couple of questions ago that the heaviest amount of snow is the single snowfall was only around 15 inches.
right.
And we know places like we know Chicago and New York and whatever have had like snowfalls of 20 and 25 inches, and a total for the year of something like 30 inches on average. So for Barrow to have only 15 for the maximum all-time one-day snowfall and still end up with something like over 100 inches, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But then again, Boston had over 100 inches just a couple of years ago.
Right. You just have to probably have everything lining up perfectly. You know, when I look at the forecasts up there from time to time when it is snowing, it's always winter storm warnings for an inch to 1 to 2 inches or something. Okay, so
Right.
if you think that maybe if it snows multiple, if they get 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 inches multiple times a month, and they maybe get a year where it starts in September and goes right into to May. 6 inches, 10 months, that's 60. I don't know. Just kind of trying to reason it out off the top of my head. So here's the bonus question, Joe. Most consecutive days with measurable snow falling. Most consecutive days with measurable snow falling.
Well, the last 2 or 3 times you've asked this question, it's always come up around 12 or 13. So I think actually that might be the limit for any spot on Earth, actually. So I'll say for Barrow, I'll say 14.
The answer for you had to be within 8, so you are technically within 8, but barely. 21. 21.
Wow.
2-1, 2-1. 21.
Yes.
All right. So, any plans for the weekend?
No.
Well, that makes it easy. Okay. What else?
I'm going to the eye doctor tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
So
I'm sorry. You set the table there for me. I had to go down that road. I don't know. I don't have anything to rant about. Do you have anything to rant about? I have nothing to rant about.
no, I have nothing either. Look, Joe.
Yeah,
Channel 2, New York. Channel 2, New York.
What about Channel 2, New York?
Well, look.
Look at what?
Can't you see what I have on?
Oh, hold on a second.
The,
Oh, yes, the CBSI. This is
yeah,
CBS.
see?
This was
This is
the,
CBS, New York.
this is this is CBS, the Can't Be Serious network. All
Right.
right, well there you are. All right, well you know
No,
what?
no,
If we got nothing to rant about, we already kind of touched upon the apocalypse, so we can. I don't want to go back down that particular road. We can wish Johnny Quest happy birthday again. Happy birthday.
did I mention Leon Probinski? Did I mention
No,
Leon on the
you
chat
did not
board?
mention Leon on the
He,
chat. You have to mention Leon on the
well,
chat.
I'm going to mention him now, and it looks like I don't know what precisely the icon is, the animated icon. It seems to look like a giant lemon head with
I can't see it.
with eyes that I don't know exactly what that's supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be a bird.
Hold on, let me just.
Not like Tweety Bird, but whatever. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no,
Thank you very
it
much,
does look like
Leon.
Tweety. I see it now.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, just as a reminder, I didn't put a link up today, but if when you're on my YouTube channel, if you go to the community page, I've got other weather stuff up that I put up there. So, you can. I usually do that during the daytime. So if you want to read up on some extra weather analysis for the eastern PA to southern New England area, you can take a look there in the community section, and I also will put up other things from time to time as well. So that's it.
I've said to myself, why is everything so blurry all of a sudden? I just realized it's because I took my glasses off. So,
oh, good Lord.
Dennis Cassia says, buy some stable for your snowblower. I've got stable, Dennis. I haven't. In fact, I put it directly into the gas. But and you know what's great too, also, Joe?
What?
Seafoam. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, somebody.
Seafoam.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Somebody mentioned it to me too.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have as well. All these things, I never knew any of this stuff before I owned a house.
Okay, so
and then
by the way, so Billy the Kid has gone from talking to the apocalypse, wants to know whether you've got cataracts or whether I've got cataracts. Any other things you'd like to know? I mean, can you run up like a list of terminal diseases that we might have? I mean, seriously.
I do.
My God, stop.
No, Billy the Kid. Does Joe Rayo have you got cataracts? No, I don't have cataracts. I have Volkswagen.
Zing! That was brilliant. Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah. Gerard says, this is what I miss so much about Joe Rayo leaving News 12. Grrr. Yeah, we used to do a lot of that stuff on News 12, right? But Gerard, you should like News 12 now. You should like all of the young, healthy faces that they have with all of 2 and 3 years of news background or whatever, or weather background. Get rid of all the people with the experience, and let's bring in the pretty faces. So that's the way of television these days.
With large qualifications of a different sort.
Notice I'm not saying anything. You're not going to let me say anything about what you just said.
Right, well,
I will just say thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be if Facebook or YouTube doesn't throw us off the air for this particular show.
Yes, Billy. The community page is everybody. It is available to anyone. That's open. That's different from my Patreon platform, which is $2 a month. I know that's a lot of money, but hey, you know what? If there's an apocalypse, you might as well.
Correct.
I'm sorry. I just, you know what? I can't. That mindset, Joe. I cannot. I can't get into that mindset. I just can't. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But you know what? Everybody's got their way of looking at the world. Oh, you got mail. I heard you got mail.
Yes, I know.
Okay, just check.
Boy, how were you able to hear that?
Because I get feedback, Joe. I can hear everything.
Okay.
I hear you.
Are you there,
2-1. Yeah, I'm
Joe?
here. Okay. I just realized that if I press on my headset, I can actually I can mute my mic and then press it again and it comes back.
Hmm.
That was exciting. Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, so the community page is available for everybody. So go ahead, go there, and there's a lot. There's stuff there. Like I said, I put stuff there at least once or twice a day, and it'll just sort of support everything that we're talking about during the show. So it's a good primer or primer or however you pronounce that.
I think it's primer.
Okay, so look, here's the deal for Sunday. Let's tentatively schedule for 11 o'clock. I may or may not have a family issue, so we may or may not have to schedule it for Sunday evening. So I may or may not let you know. How's that?
I understand.
All right? Got it, everybody? Tentatively, right now, it's 11 a.m., but it is subject to change with notice. Okay? You'll
Yes.
get noticed. Okay. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And we will see you on Sunday, God willing. Uh,
Bye. Bye
bye,
bye.
everybody.